You got something real, love, babe. You wanna get with me, stop. Yes, I'm hurting, yes, I'm jaded. Most of these things I don't wanna say.
What is up, y'all? It is TheeRawestJo. If you're new here, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to be tapped in with all my new and upcoming videos. Period. As you can tell by the title, girl, this is one of them ones, girl. This is one of them ones. If you see me like looking detached, or maybe detached, but having one of them moments, girl, we processing. Okay. I guess I said I'm processing, and y'all probably gonna be processing with me. As you can tell from the title, I do have notes. Y'all always know anytime I do my story times, I have to have notes because things that have been, I don't know if it's a traumatic, but yeah. Most of the time we have traumatic events, especially ones that I'm speaking in reference to. You kind of block out a lot of the necessary information. So I really had to sit down, think, draw back from when everything happened. And yeah, so if you see me looking at my phone, girl, it's because we got a couple of notes. So as you can tell by the title, this is me discussing the time that my house suffered a tumultuous fire. I am going to try to insert like clips throughout the video so y'all can kind of see, like, as I talk, as I go along, you know, I'll try to put little clips on the side because I did record the whole journey from when we first seen the house burnt up to as it was getting refinished or refined, or I don't know, restored, I guess I should say, all the way up into the end. So I'm not going to try to upload too much, but I am going to try to, like I said, put little clips on the side as I go through so y'all can kind of follow along with me and draw back to that time as well. Let's get right into it. Oh, and if you a returner, girl, you already know how I feel about you. Matter of fact, if you a returner, if you watch my daily vlog, girl, you see how the hair came out? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, girl, trust the process. Let me stay focused. This video hopefully will just shed some light, and really it's just me sharing. This happened like, what's today? About 4 years ago, 3 to 4 years ago, but I'm just now really getting in a place to really be able to express it, talk about it, and share it with you all. So I ain't gonna talk too much and get into the preliminaries. Let's go and get into it. This tea is good. Back in 2021, I believe October specifically of 2021, for all my college girlies or college boys, you'll know that we have a thing called fall break. So it's like a day, or like a weekend, and you get like that Monday off or whatever. So I came home and set my stuff down, got in the bed, and then got back up because I'm like, I want some Chick-fil-A. And y'all know Chick-fil-A curbside, that's like 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm like, let me go get that. So I leave, and it was basically, my dad was at the house frying fish, and I leave, come back. What I tell you, what seemed like the entire fire department was at my crib. No cap. I get back and I'm just looking, and the fire people are like, we've rushed your daddy to the hospital. We're clearing out the smoke. You can't go in right now. You can't go in right now. And I'm like, okay. So I instantly am like, let me call my mama. My mom was at work at the time. So I'm like, let me call my mama and just, I don't really know what's going on, but I'm going to just call. All I know is it's been a fire. So I go pick her up. I don't really tell her really what happened because I don't want her panicking. So I just say, hey, it's been an emergency at the house. I'm going to come get you. She's like, oh, I can just drive home. I'm like, no, girl, I'm going to come get you. Because you just don't want anybody driving up under that stress. Even if she didn't know what was going on, still the stress of like, there's been an emergency, you know, things, your mind is somewhere else. You can get a car accident on the way to another incident, you know, so I just didn't want to share that with her. So I go pick her up. We come back to the house, and I think it was probably like 20 to 30 minutes had passed. Come back to the house. The fire people are still clearing the smoke out of our house. So at this point, I'm like, oh, wait, this might be bad. You know what I mean? So when they finally cleared the smoke out the house, you know, they told me my daddy had been rushed to the hospital because they believe he may have had like smoke or something in his lungs or something like that. You know what I mean? Just from the inhalation from whatever. But girl, me and my mama we walked in the house after they cleared that smoke out, and when I tell you, it looked like somebody had kicked my mama in the back of her kneecaps. Because it was like her knees buckled, and I understood because it was like, insert clip. Girl, it was like everything was burnt up. And if it won't burnt up, it was like melted. And if it won't melted, it was like the damage from the smoke. Like, you ever heard of smut? Yeah. So the residue from the smoke had ruined everything. And when I say everything, girl, I mean everything. So we literally had to gut the home. And I know I'm getting into this, real raw, real rough, real rugged, and we getting straight into it, but I'm not one to cut. I'm the one to cut to the chase. So we get in there and everything is like I said, if it's not burnt up, then it's either melted away. If it's not melted away, then it's either like the smut is covered in black smut. So at that point, me and my mom really didn't know where to go. You know what I mean? Like my dad was in the hospital, and the fire people showed up. The chief of the fire department showed up and stayed with us. We ended up going to a hotel, and thankfully my mother had homeowners insurance, so things were covered as far as our lodging, where we were going to stay. I think we contacted the Salvation Army, and I think they helped us as well, like American Red Cross or something, I think. Or the Salvation Army, one of them. Shout out to y'all. I think they did provide some assistance to my mother, I believe. And I remember the fire chief telling us, like, your house is going to be gutted. Like, y'all going to have to get new walls, everything it's going to have to get gutted. And when they say gutted, it means, like, think of a bowl. You got a bowl of oatmeal. I don't know. Think of a bowl of oatmeal. And you have everything, all the contents in the bowl, all the oatmeal in the bowl is scraped out to just leave the shell. Does that make sense? Just to leave the bowl. That's basically what our home was. Like the outside of the home was still standing because it was bricks. I don't know if that helped. But the outside of the home was still standing. But everything on the inside, girl, had to be out. I'm talking everything, walls, clothes, everything, like gutted. The chief fireman even told us, he was like, don't get nobody cheap. When y'all get it restored, don't get no cheap contractor, because if you get a cheap contractor and he build and he don't do what he's supposed to do, when the summertime come, the smell of the smoke is going to come through the wall. And I remember the chief of the fire department basically told us, was like, the house will have probably exploded if y'all didn't have good windows. So I don't know what type of windows my parents had gotten 20-some years ago, but apparently those windows put the fire out, if that makes sense. Because otherwise, all fire needs is like air, oxygen, and it'll keep spreading and eventually combust. And these are for my chem majors. If you know, you know. So he was basically like, y'all windows is kind of what made the fire stop, because it's almost like when you put a cup over a flame or something. If there's no air, no oxygen, it'll just die out. Like with a candle. If you have a candle burning and you put the candle top on top of the candle, what'll happen? The candle, the fire in the candle, the wick or whatever will go out. Correct. Same type of chemistry. So basically he was like, whatever windows y'all had, that helped, probably helped save your daddy from, the whole house exploding, and then probably affecting the whole neighborhood. Like, it was just so much, y'all. We end up, like I said, my mother had homeowners insurance, so we end up being in the hotel for a while. Now, mind you, this was my fall break. So I still had to go back to school Tuesday. So Tuesday I go back to school, and it just so happened to be I had a chemistry test. And my mind was I knew I had a chemistry test leaving school, but I completely forgot about that test, y'all, by the time I had gotten back Tuesday. So we walk in, my teacher's like, pull out your pens and papers. I'm thinking it's a little quiz, girl. It's an exam. And that's why I tell y'all, it's the grace of God that I graduated May of 2022. Because this happened October 2021, and I still was able to graduate May of 2022. It's nothing but the grace of God, okay? We lost, a lot of stuff. We were at least displaced. My mother was displaced for at least 2 years. My mama says 1, I say 2. Because I remember when I had left to go back to school, my mom was staying at, shout out to the Holiday Inn. I think it's the Holiday Inn. Shout out to Holiday Inn in Hopewell. If I ever come into some money, I'm going to give y'all some. I'm going to definitely give back to them, because my mother said they took really good care of her. It was like her home for at least 6 months, I think. And then eventually we got placed into an apartment, real nice apartment complex in Petersburg, and we didn't have to pay for that, of course, because we had homeowners insurance, so they paid the rent and things. So get homeowners insurance, girl, because you never know. You don't ever want anything to happen, but if something do happen, you need to have something when it happen, okay? When it comes to the things we lost, we pretty much lost everything. Pictures were gone. At that point, my mama really only had her pocketbook, a cappuccino cup, and a Bible. That was pretty much all that was left. Now, I will tell y'all this. I'm going to insert a little clip. There was a part where in the living room, my mother would always pray and stuff in the morning, read her Bible. And mind you, everything else was damaged from smut, or either burned up. And it just so happened to be that when the firefighters was clearing out the smoke, in the living room, the only thing that was really there was the Bible. It was like sitting on my mom's table, and I'll insert a clip. It's like you can see the imprint of the book. My mama still has that Bible to this day. When I tell you the Bible, it was like untouched, like untouched. It gives me chills to this day when I talk about it, but unscathed, completely not bothered. Like, I think my mama wiped it off with a wipe and it was fine. So that's another story in itself. I don't want to get caught up. So my mother was in a hotel, and I was coming back every weekend at school. I was coming back every weekend just to check on my mama, to be with her. You know what I mean? Because this whole situation was just traumatic, and I was trying to get updates about the house as well. And I just really, so every weekend, you know, like when I was an undergrad, I was still coming back home. And my school, every university, is why I called them a safe haven. Well, one of the reasons is because they did end up giving me and my mother 2 like big, nice baskets. I mean, I still have the blanket that they gave us to this day. We still have those blankets that they gave us to this day. Just different stuff like that you would need. Because I think I told, somebody had seen, and my friend Lydia at school had seen, like, I had said something about, oh my God, my house just burned down or whatever. And she was on the like student engagement team or whatever. She ended up letting the dean or whatever. So long story short, shout out to Miss Tammy Jackson, because her and the CVEC or whatever, the student engagement at Avery, they end up giving me and my mama 2 really nice big baskets to kind of help us, you know, in our time of need. So I love her for that. We'll forever love her for that. At this time, like I said, I'm in school, coming back and forth at home, and my mama trying to, you know, talk with the insurance people and try to, because at this point we have to like put in a claim, like give them the things that we've lost so we can get reimbursed for it. And it's hard kind of remembering what you done lost when it ain't there. You know what I mean? It's hard sitting there going like, oh yeah, I did have this and this. But we did it. We ended up coming up with a list where we had to give them, and they would reimburse us for the things we lost. As far as family, I had family to reach out, I think right when they found out it happened, and they tried to provide assistance. But at that time, when you're like traumatized and so shocked, me and my mom, we're not really the type of people to like run and tell our business, especially to people that can't really help us or really don't have the means to really help us. A lot of times you can tell people things and they'll just hear it to know the information, but they'll really won't provide any assistance. So if I'm being honest, as far as the family coming in and helping, they didn't do anything, respectfully. Didn't give a washcloth, a towel. My school really gave more than my own family did. And that's no shade to them, but the facts are the facts. You know what I mean? Truth is truth. Now, I will say my church family assisted. Zion Apostolic at the time. My church family at the time definitely assisted, because they gave my mom some money so she could go buy clothes, like coats. Because at the point, all my mama's clothes was burned up. You know what I mean? So they did assist with that. My sorority sister, my big Sierra, I remember she literally gave me mugs out of her cupboard. Like, I'm almost certain she took one of her husband's cups. It's one of these cups that I have. It says "What a Guy" on it. I'm gonna show it to you. Hold up. So these are one of the cups. It's "What a Guy." I'm almost certain this is her husband's cup. I don't even know if she got permission. She probably did. He didn't care. So my sorority sister, she came through. She literally, you know, it's kind of hard because you don't really know what to help, how to help. But she literally took cups out of her mugs out of her cupboard and gave them to me. So that's why she my girl. I'm telling you, we just stood the test of time. Family didn't really do much of anything, but my church family did. They definitely helped my mom out. Like I said, my mom said they gave her, you know, she was able to go buy clothes, dresses, because she didn't have anything. Like, all her stuff was, she really lost the most, I feel like, out of all of us, because her stuff literally burned up, girl. Like, it won't know you can wash the clothes. It was burnt up, girl. Oh, really? Me and my mom kind of went on as normal. Like, we just had to, because in times of crisis, it's like, you can't really, I mean, you can, everybody has to cope on their own way, but you can't really, like, we didn't have time to be like, sitting there, woe is me. We had to like figure out how we was gonna fix it. We had to get our house straight. Like, we had to contact contractors and make sure they were legitimate contractors. We had to pick out new flooring, pick out painting, pick out furniture, put in the list of the things that we lost to the insurance company, make sure that was on time, be on the insurance company and be like, did you get what we sent? Like, it was a lot of moving on as normal. I still went to school. I didn't miss any classes. I didn't miss anything. Like, we went on as normal. My mama still went to work every day. In spite of, you know what I mean? So we really had to like persevere, push through. Like I said, we really went on as normal. Now when the house was getting restored, I would go to the house because that's my childhood home. I grew up in it. I haven't lived anywhere else ever. So I have an attachment. So I would go check on the house, sit in the yard, even though we couldn't go in there because it wasn't livable. Like you couldn't live in it. Like it was impossible. So I would still go check on it, sit in the yard, like, you know, and I'll insert a clip or a picture. Like we had to throw everything out of the house. All of our stuff was just burnt up, and we had to, like, it was just a lot to it. And the people who came in, like the contractors, whoever worked on the house, had to like clear everything out. Like I said, they had to gut it. So a lot of the times it was like a big dumpster outside with all of our stuff in it. You know what I mean? And it wasn't one of those things you can like look through because it's burnt up. So you can't look through and try to see if you can salvage anything because it's burnt. Like it's nothing salvageable. So yeah, we pretty much went on as normal. Like I said, I went back to school. My mama went back to work. And we just went on as normal and tried to, you know, fix what we needed to fix. It wasn't really time to sit there and be, you know, traumatized, even though we were traumatized. We didn't really have time to sit in the trauma because things needed to get done. Now I will say this, it really showed me a lot when it came to the men in my life that I was dealing with, because there were men in my life that I had told about it. I mean, showed pictures, like videos, like, yeah, and I don't like, it really made me look at men differently. I don't know if this is good or bad. Y'all comment below, I guess. But it really made me realize like what was really important, and it made me like cut certain men off and never want to deal with them again. Because going through all of this, I'm not saying I was expecting people to give me like money or like give me a whole bunch of stuff, but the men and I'm gonna be real raw, real with y'all. The men that I was laid up with, this, and the third, didn't even give me a washcloth, a towel, a blanket, a gift card, because hey boo, you probably ain't got no clothes. Like they didn't even think to really be there, or like, you know what I mean? And it really made me reevaluate them as men and reevaluate our relationships or whatever situationships. Because in the end, it's like, in times of crisis, who's gonna be there and really show it? People can say they care about you, love you, but like showing it is a whole nother type of time. Like my big literally gave me mugs out of her cupboard. Even though she probably was like, I don't know what else to do. But she gave me mugs, you know what I mean? So that definitely made me, I'm not gonna say maybe cut all my hose off, but girl, it did make me say, to hell with y'all. Don't call me for, you know what I mean? Cause wow, I mean, not a washcloth, not a towel, not a nothing. It was just, you know, and I'm not angry about it now, but it just, and I wasn't angry about it then, but it just was a awakening, an opening of my eyes. It made me see like, wait a minute, girl. Cause in my opinion, anything that you especially anything you laid up with ain't supposed to be laid up with, cause ain't nobody married. Anything you laid up with, the last thing you should be dealing with is wanting for anything. You feel what I'm saying? Like, yeah, so we ain't gonna get into much in that. It definitely opened my eyes, like I said, to the men in my life, made me reevaluate the relationships, friendships, a whole bunch of things. Like I said, it's really in your time of crisis, what they say. It take to be out in the dark to see who really with you. You know what I mean? Like, people can be there when it's good, when life is great, but who's there when like life isn't good? When you're in your time of crisis, who's really gonna be there? And like I said, that goes for friends, family, boyfriend, girlfriend, situation, whatever you want to call it. And I'm that type of person because I know what I would do for people if I was in that situation. So to not have it done to me, it was really an eye-opening, like an eye-awakening type of thing. And it just made me see like people for who they are, I guess. Now, mind y'all, my mom told me, like, I think this was years before I was born, or even when I was born, I was like 1 or 2. She had received a prophecy. I hope she don't mind me telling her testimony, but girl, I don't think she mind, because she ain't gonna never tell y'all, so I gotta tell it. Gotten a prophecy that she would be getting a new house. And this was like 20-some years ago, before this even happened. And my mom's not really a materialistic type of person. Like, she's like, one of the type of people, like, she's grateful for what she has. So she was just happy that she was owning her own home at the age she was owning. You know what I mean? So she wasn't really itching to get another house. But the prophet lady, it was a woman, the prophet lady told her, like, oh no, you're gonna get a new house. And most people jump up and down and like, but my mom didn't. And now I had to remind my mama, I was like, remember that time? And this was after the fire had happened. And we had gotten the new house, gotten settled in. And I'll probably put clips of that too, of course. Because it was a process. Like I said, they had to gut the whole house. So they had to break the walls down, put new walls up, new wood. Like, it was a lot. Y'all will see from the clips. But I ended up reminding my mom, I was like, Mom, remember that time you told me that prophecy told you? And they said you was going to get a new house? You got a new house. And it kind of hit both of us in our spirit. You know what I mean? Because it was like, oh God, we got it. But if we knew we was gonna get it like this, and maybe that's why my mama won't shouting up and down. You feel what I'm saying? Because of course God, like the Spirit, God knows things way before this happens. So sometimes we can see things like, sometimes things are warnings. Sometimes things are like, he's like preparing you for what's to come. So the fact that my mama won't jump up there, even though it's not her personality anyway, but the fact that my mama won't like ecstatic or esteemed about it, my daddy was more happy. My daddy was ready to go look at new houses when the prophet person told her the prophecy. It wasn't even his prophecy. But to look back on it now and know like, oh, that was a true woman of God, because you did get a new house. But to know that this is how it would happen, girl, crazy. It's a beautiful story. Like I said, beautiful house. But if you knew, like beautiful now, like I'll show y'all clips, because I do have a couple little clips of it. And it's more to it now. I haven't even shown like an updated version, but it's definitely a home now. A rejuvenated, renovated home. But in that, I will say, because I know a lot of people say like fires are a sign of judgment, especially like, I know people have been speaking on that, like with LA. I don't know if you all know about the LA fires, but that whole situation, and my heart goes out to the families that have suffered from those fires in LA. But it kind of hit home for me, especially seeing it, because it was like, I live that. You know what I mean? I understand that. I understand you can have things and then you don't have things. You understand what I'm saying? And it just showed me all of this, it's nice and all, but in the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Your life, having your friends and your family still there to tell a story, like still there to be with you, having friends and family, having your life, health and strength, trumps having material items. Because it could be here today and gone tomorrow. Here today and gone with a light of a match. You understand what I'm saying? And that wasn't the situation. Because, like I said, the person who was at the house was frying fish. And all I'm going to say is fish don't take 15 minutes to fry. So if you leave it on there for longer than 15 minutes, the results may be devastating. I say all that to say, a lot of people feel like fires are a sign of judgment. And I can kind of see that with my situation. I can kind of see that. I'm not saying that's a situation with LA. I'm not saying that this was a God. The fires in LA was a God thing. I'm not even saying the fire with my home was a God thing. But I can see how God's sovereignty was in this whole situation. I can see the hand of God in the whole situation. You know what I mean? As devastating as it was, and like I said, I'm not saying that it was of God, but I'm saying God is so sovereign that his hand was still able to like move things around, work the situation out to our good. Even though it was so devastating, even though it was so traumatic, I can see how God's hand was in it, kind of moving things, reshifting things around. I can see how, for my situation, I do feel like there was a certain level of deliverance with the house fire, because just without telling too much, but one of them is my mom used to be, I don't want to say a hoarder, but she wasn't the type of person to let things go easily. And this situation, unfortunately, showed us how things don't matter. Holding on to things, it's not going to matter in the end, because it can be gone just like that. So don't put too much hope, confidence, faith, or rely so much on your items or your material. Don't be so materialistic and wanting to hold on to things, because eventually God gonna make you lose it. You know what I mean? So looking back, reflecting, I can definitely see how God's hand was in the midst of all of that. I can definitely see how what the enemy meant for evil, God definitely turned around for the good, because now we have a beautiful home. My mother has a beautiful home. 10 times better than the home. And I still love the home that I grew up in, and it's still a loss because we lost pictures, we lost items, we lost things we'll never get back. Items from my sorority sister, my big that she gave me that I'll never get back. But in that, like I said, I'm able to see how God is still faithful. God is definitely Jehovah Jireh, your provider. I said it's a beautiful home. But if you knew what it took to get there, and I know my neighbors were probably wondering, like, will they ever get back in the house? People were contacting my mother to see if she wanted to sell the house to them, especially once it got renovated. Like I said, my mama was owning that house, so she had homeowners insurance. So I mean, now my mama could, if she wanted to, resell the house and get somebody to rent it out to people if she wanted to, and make her a nice little coin. But I kind of understand why she might not want to do that, especially since, like I said, it's my childhood home, and we restored it, renewed it. We know what it's like not to have it, so it's one of the things I don't think we're really gonna let go of it. Now she might, you know what I mean? But I've already told her, I'm like, girl, you can pass that down to me. You know what I mean? Because that's like my childhood home, and to know the testimony behind it, I want that to stay in my family line. Like I said, it just really showed me how, you know, you could serve God in this, that, and the third, but you could, when we say Jehovah Jireh, my provider and all that, but do you really know him to be a provider? And if not, he's definitely gonna, I don't say put you in situations, but life is gonna put you in situations where you're gonna have to put your money where your mouth is. Like, all that talking, you really gonna have to step. Like, if you believe he's Jehovah Jireh, your provider, you might be without, and you gonna need him to provide. So I can see how God, basically, like I said, in his sovereignty, can kind of show himself to us, reveal himself to us in his different capacities, in his different forms. I don't want to keep saying it was a traumatic experience, because I'm really trying to take that and say tested. Instead of saying, oh, we were so traumatized, I really just want to say we was really tested. We really went through the fire and came out untouched. I mean, when you look at us now, you can see how it's like you go through the fire and you come out not smelling like smoke. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of times I think about the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, even though that's not their real names, and I'm not trying to get preachy, but I don't think that's their real names. How they were in the fiery furnace, and the king was like, I think it was King Nebuchadnezzar, if I'm not mistaken, but he was like, it's only 3, we put 3 in there, but I see 4, and that 4th man was God. Like, God will be with you in the midst of it. And when you come out, you'll come out untouched, unscathed. And I can truly say that with that situation, with this situation, how me and my mother still have our right mind. You understand what I'm saying? We still have the reputation of God is faithful, and we can attest to that. That'll make some people lose their faith. And I'm not saying they're wrong for losing. I mean, but I'm not saying they will be completely off the wall for losing their faith. This situation make people lose their mind. See my mom still withstand both of us, but especially her, because yes, that was my childhood home, but that was my mother's home. That's what she worked hard for. And like I said, I went back to school, so I technically had a place to reside, because you stay on campus. My mother had to stay in a hotel, you know what I mean? And still go to work every day, and she had to still push through. And that's why I feel like my mom's my mom is the strongest woman that I know. And the thing is, she's so quiet, laid back, and her own personality, but the average person, it's really God that was strengthening her and sustaining her, because like I said, the average person, that will make people's minds snap. Especially with the background. I'm not even telling y'all all the background, because it's really, that's my personal family business, so that's not something I'm sharing. So I do want to maintain some discretion, but just knowing the things that my mother has endured, and just being able to watch her still stand, still go to church every Sunday, still be in her word, still be saying God is faithful. Like, she literally lived the Job experience. You understand what I'm saying? But disregarding like her child, dying and all that. But she really withstood like the Job experience. So I will forever be in awe of her. I don't even think I've ever really said this to her. And if she watch it, girl, yeah. But I will forever be in awe of her, and of course of God. But she's really executed what it's like to really believe in God and be faithful. You know what I mean? Like, I joke with my mama all the time. I'm like, girl, you got to get it. And not even just with this situation, but even before this situation, I would joke with my mama and be like, girl, you definitely getting the extra jewel in that crown. Because, you know what I mean? We all get up to the gates and we all get a crown. I always see the jewels as like a point system. You know what I mean? Like certain amount of stars or something. You was like an extra good person, like extra faithful, extra Christian type vibe. We all gonna make it in. You know what I mean? But I do feel like you gonna get some extra jewels. I just feel like, you know what I mean? And that's only fair in my opinion. But I say all that to say, like I said, that situation, it showed me a lot. It revealed a lot to me. It opened my eyes to a lot. It humbled me. It pruned me, shaped me, refined me in more ways than I can really describe. And it just showed me, like I said, in the end, the results. Beautiful home now. Beautiful. Beautiful. I can't wait till it get passed down to me. Okay? But to know what we went through, to know that we got through it, and I know that the only reason we really got through it was because of God. Especially reflecting on that prophecy that my mom had received over 20 years ago. Us not knowing what was coming down the line, but of course God and his sovereignty knowing what was coming down the line. It's just an amazing testimony. And like I said, it really took a while. It happened like 4 years ago, October 2021. I think about 4 years ago. I'm really now just really being able to express it. I posted it on TikTok like last week. So that was my first time really sharing it with the world. But now, of course, I'm sharing it with you all and more in depth. But like I said, I don't want to keep saying that it was a traumatizing, because it was traumatic, but I can say through that trauma, we were tested and we showed to approved in a sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but just don't ever judge a book by its cover. People see you now and see what you have now, and you look good now, and you're closing now, but none of this means anything. Like when I tell y'all, and shout out to this shirt. The girl I used to work with, Maya, and she has her own clothing brand. It's Motion Over Mayhem. It's kind of the theme. The shirt, the bottom of the shirt kind of gives to the thing with the fire. These clothes, materials, and all of that, like, it means nothing. I don't put any trust, confidence, a whole bunch into it, because I know what it's like to have it, and just like that, it's gone. You feel what I'm saying? So like I said, my heart goes out to the family suffering from the fires in LA. Like I said, it was a bit triggering seeing it on TV and seeing it live, like, you know, and so many people affected. But like I said, I've been through the fire, and I can say that you will come out refined. Now, did you want to be refined this kind of way? No. But you don't get to pick and choose. And at the end of the day, God knows more than we will ever know. He knows further down the line. He knows what's going on the back end that we don't know about. And he knows how to step in, like I said, and deliver. That's all I can say. Thank y'all for watching this video. I'm hoping that, you know, I don't think it'll be too long, but I'm hoping that you all got something out of what I said. And if you don't get anything out of it, the main two things is trust God and his sovereignty. Trust God because he is faithful, and put not your trust or whatever in these items, the materialistic things. As long as you have family, God, your life, health, and strength, in your right mind, you can make it. You'll survive. So thank y'all so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. TheeRawestJo. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to be tapped in with all my new and upcoming videos. If you're new here, tap on in and, you know, go ahead and subscribe, girl. Join the gang. And then if you're a returner, girl, you already know how I feel about you. Period. Thank y'all so much for watching, and love, joy, and peace.
You got something real